Did you ever notice that look? That look that lingers a second too long. It's not just a casual glance, it's a look searching, hoping for a silent reply. That's how it begins. That's how passionate men reveal themselves, even when trying to hide what they feel. And what if I told you there's a hidden language in male behavior, a language few can interpret, but it's there, visible to those who know how to look. Those small gestures, those seemingly insignificant actions, they're the ones that reveal what truly resides in a man's heart when he's in love. Ever wonder why he always finds a way to be near you, even when there's no apparent need? Why he remembers details you mentioned only once, weeks or months ago? Why he subtly shifts his behavior when you're around? The truth is, the male heart speaks through actions, not words. And today, let's unlock this secret language. Let's explore the signals all passionate men emit, even when they think they're hiding their feelings. What's the most intriguing sign you've noticed in someone who was interested in you? Something you only later understood the true meaning of? Share your experience in the comments. Your insight might help others recognize these signs in their own lives. The science of human attraction is fascinating because it operates on levels far beyond our conscious awareness. There are ancestral patterns, deeply ingrained instincts that guide our behavior when we're in love. And the most interesting part? These patterns transcend cultures, ages, and personalities. When a man is truly in love, his body and mind enter a silent dance that reveals his deepest feelings. It's as if a primal part of him takes over, overriding all the barriers of reason and self-control he's built throughout his life. Think of it as a subtle yet profound transformation. When passion takes hold, something shifts in how a man prioritizes things. Suddenly, that friend who never cancelled a date with the guys starts checking his phone before confirming any commitment. He's waiting for your message, though he'd never admit it. One of the most revealing signals is how he uses time, that precious commodity we never get back. The man in love invests his time in you in ways that completely contradict his usual routine. He who was always direct and practical in conversations now finds 1,000 topics to prolong those 5 minutes of hallway chat. He who always ended calls promptly now seems to have all the time in the world when he's talking to you. Body language never lies, even when words try to disguise things. Notice how he positions himself when you're in a group. There's an almost magnetic tendency for his body to align towards you, like a compass that's found its north. His feet point towards you, his torso subtly leans when you speak. His eyes return to your face, even when he's chatting with others. And then there's that unexpected vulnerability, rare moments where he lowers his guard and reveals something personal, something he usually keeps protected. It might be a childhood memory, an unfulfilled dream, a fear he carries. These moments are precious gifts, quiet confessions that you've reached a special place in his inner world. Neuroscience shows us that when we're in love, our brains release a unique cocktail of chemicals, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, that literally alter our perception of reality. That's why he seems to notice every change in you. That new haircut, the way you smile when you're truly happy, the specific tone of your laugh when something's genuinely funny. A smitten man develops an impressive selective memory. He remembers exactly what you were wearing the day you met. He recalls the song playing in the restaurant. He remembers your favorite order at the coffee shop. These details are etched into his memory because to a love-struck brain, everything related to you automatically becomes significant, worthy of preservation. Have you noticed how he tries to create moments? Those little pretexts for interactions that seem casual but are meticulously orchestrated. Maybe it's an article he happened to find and thought you'd like to read. Or that new coffee shop that opened and he mentions you should check out sometime. These aren't random invitations. They're bridges he's building to create a shared universe between the two of you. One of the most revealing behaviors is how he reacts to your absence. When you're unavailable, when you don't respond immediately, when you mention other commitments, observe closely. The smitten man tries to appear casual, but there's a subtlety to his reaction. Perhaps it's a seemingly disinterested question about your plans, or a message sent strategically during that period. He's trying to stay on your radar, to keep your presence alive even when physically distant. How he speaks about you to others is another powerful sign. Close friends often know of his feelings long before you realize it. This happens because, even trying to be discreet when you're present, he lets his guard down when you're not. Your name arises naturally in conversations. Your opinions are cited as references. "I met someone who thinks exactly like you about this" is a phrase he'll never say directly, but will share with his inner circle. When we're in love, we develop an almost supernatural ability for synchronization. Unconsciously, he starts adopting some of your interests, expressions, or gestures. Maybe he never showed interest in photography before, but now he's learning about it because it's your passion. Or he starts using that quirky expression that's so characteristically yours. This is one of the most profound and unconscious forms of connection. The brain literally trying to create points of similarity, bridges to ease the approach. I want to invite you to delve deeper into this fascinating universe of attraction psychology and relationships. If this content is resonating with your experiences or sparking new insights, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications. Each week, we explore together the complexities of human relationships, revealing hidden patterns that influence our deepest connections. Personal space is an invisible boundary we all maintain around ourselves. It's interesting to observe how this boundary shifts when we're in love. The man who usually maintains a comfortable distance from everyone around him finds himself, without realizing it, constantly decreasing that distance when he's near you. It's a gravitational pull, an unconscious dance of approach that his body executes without consulting his rational mind. His voice. Have you noticed how it changes when he speaks to you? There's a different quality, a subtle modulation that appears only in those conversations. Scientists have discovered that men unconsciously deepen their tone of voice when speaking to someone they're attracted to. It's an automatic ancestral adjustment completely outside of conscious control. Next time, pay attention not only to what he says, but how he says it when he's talking just to you, compared to when he's in a group. The touch, that sacred territory of human communication, reveals truths that words could never express. A passionate man creates opportunities for these fleeting moments of physical connection. A gentle touch on the arm during a lively conversation. A hand on the back as you pass through a doorway. Fingers lingering a second longer when handing something over. Each of these gestures carries a silent confession, a small act of courage disguised as casualness. Also, observe how he reacts when other men interact with you. There's a special attention, a heightened awareness that manifests in these situations. Not necessarily overt jealousy. Often it's something more subtle, a shift in posture, a strategic repositioning in space, a sudden entrance into the conversation. These are instinctive responses of protection, and connection affirmation, executed long before his rational mind can intervene. His generosity takes unexpected forms. I'm not just talking about material gifts, but an emotional and practical availability that contradicts his usual patterns. That friend who always seemed meticulous about his time and energy suddenly is willing to drive 2 hours to help you with something simple, or offering solutions to problems you casually mentioned, demonstrating that your concerns weren't just heard, but internalized. The passionate man becomes a dedicated scholar of a single discipline: you. Your tastes, your preferences, your dreams, your fears. He absorbs information about your world with an intensity that would rival any academic, and then discreetly uses that knowledge to craft experiences that perfectly align with who you are. That restaurant he suggested wasn't a random choice. He researched, remembering a cuisine you mentioned loving 3 months ago. Social media becomes a field of study for him. His likes aren't randomly distributed. There's a pattern, a consistent presence in your digital life. He might not be the first to comment, as that would be too obvious, but he's invariably among those who notice and react to what you share. And when you mention something you posted, he already knows exactly what you're talking about because he's already seen it, already reflected on it. The way he talks about the future subtly changes. References to distant events, possibilities extending beyond the immediate horizon start appearing. That festival happening next summer. Or, they say that region is beautiful this time of year. Are indirect invitations to imagine a shared time, windows into a future where both of you remain present in each other's lives. There's a fascinating contradiction in the passionate man's behavior. While he intensely seeks your presence, there are moments when he seems inexplicably distant. This apparent inconsistency isn't a sign of disinterest, on the contrary. It's the reflection of an internal struggle, a constant negotiation between a heart already surrendered and a mind still calculating risks, fearing complete vulnerability. In these moments of distance, he's actually processing the intensity of what he feels, recalibrating his emotional defenses that one by one are giving way to this transformative feeling. A passionate man's written language is a rich territory of clues. The messages he sends carry far more than their literal content. There's meticulous attention to your response, a veiled anxiety about your reaction. He might reread that seemingly casual message 10 times before sending it. He might meticulously plan the perfect moment to make contact. The words are chosen with a care that completely contradicts any supposed spontaneity. Even that seemingly simple "good morning" might have been the result of several discarded drafts, several versions considered and reconsidered. When we're in love, our nervous system operates in a constant state of alert, hypersensitive to any stimulus related to the beloved. That's why he notices immediately when you change something, a new accessory, a different expression, a subtle emotional tone in your voice. This hyper-awareness allows him to pick up signals that would completely go unnoticed by others. Did you casually mention you were cold? The next time you're in that same environment, he'll have an extra jacket just in case. Did you mention a specific allergy? He'll remember it months later when you're choosing a restaurant. His physical space also transforms. Maybe you notice he always has that specific brand of tea you prefer, even though he never drinks it himself. Or a spare blanket has appeared on the sofa where you usually sit when you visit. His environment begins to anticipate your presence, to prepare itself to welcome you. These are small adjustments he makes, often without consciously realizing it, so you feel increasingly comfortable in his territory. Observing how he manages transitions, the moments of arrival and departure, reveals depths rarely explored. There's a different quality to his greeting when you meet, a particular energy in his farewell. Perhaps he consistently arrives a few minutes early for a scheduled meeting, or finds reasons to prolong that parting conversation at the end of an event. These liminal moments are especially precious to the loving heart, which always desires more time, more connection, more closeness. The way he manages conflicts and disagreements with you undergoes a radical transformation. The man who normally fiercely defends his point of view in professional discussions or with friends develops surprising flexibility when it comes to the two of you. It's not that he abandons his convictions, it's that the harmony between you takes on a priority that rivals the need to be right. He's more willing to consider alternative perspectives, more open to compromise, more interested in understanding your point of view than winning an argument. One of the subtlest yet most revealing signs is how he reacts to your successes and accomplishments. The truly loving man feels a genuine pride in your victories, no matter how small. There's no hidden envy, no disguised competition. Instead, there's an authentic joy, an enthusiasm that sometimes even surpasses your own. He shares your good news with those close to him, celebrating your advancements as if they were his own. This is one of the purest expressions of connection, when your happiness genuinely becomes a part of his happiness. The everyday decisions of a loving man are subtly influenced by you, even when you're not present. That movie he chooses to watch because he knows you'll be able to talk about it later. The book he starts reading because it's part of your shared world of interests. The new restaurant he tries so he can recommend it, or not, to you later. Your tastes, your preferences, your opinions become an invisible filter through which he begins to experience the world. The plans he makes start to include you, first hypothetically, then in increasingly concrete ways. Have you visited that museum yet? Might sound like a casual question, but it implicitly carries the possibility of a shared experience. His future vacations, once meticulously planned exclusively with friends or family, now contain strategic openings, windows of time that could potentially accommodate moments with you. His future is being silently redrawn to create spaces where your presence is possible. The way he presents himself to the outside world also transforms. There's a new care for his appearance, a renewed attention to details previously overlooked. Perhaps he starts dressing with more care, or adopts a new fragrance, or finally schedules that doctor's appointment he'd been putting off. This isn't mere vanity. It's a reflection of a deep desire to present the best version of himself to the person who sparked such intense feelings. Routine, that invisible structure organizing our lives, undergoes significant shifts when the heart is involved. Usual paths are recalculated to include the possibility, however remote, of a chance encounter with you. Schedules are adjusted to maximize connection opportunities. Breakfast at home might give way to coffee at the bakery near your workplace. That nightly run now, coincidentally, passes through the park you mentioned frequenting. His whole life subtly begins to orbit around the chances of being in your presence. A fascinating psychological phenomenon occurs when we're in love. The world divides into two categories, moments with you and moments awaiting you. That's why he often seems mentally elsewhere when you're not together. Part of his energy is always reserved for thinking about you, planning the next encounter, processing the last shared moment. It's a division of attention that happens naturally, without conscious decision. The paradox of the man in love lies in the constant tension between revealing and concealing. He deeply desires you to perceive his feelings, but simultaneously fears complete exposure. This duality echoes Carl Jung's observations about human nature. We are beings of contradiction, inhabiting multiple inner worlds simultaneously. The man you see hesitating between approach and retreat is, in fact, navigating deep emotional complexities, striving to balance vulnerability and protection, desire and fear. The transformation that occurs when a man falls in love is almost alchemical. As Jung would recognize, it's not merely a change in behavior, but a true inner transmutation. Priorities that seemed unshakable rearrange themselves. Values recalibrate. What once seemed essential can suddenly seem secondary. This is the quiet magic of love, its ability to rewrite not just the future, but the present itself, altering how we experience each moment. Perhaps you've noticed how he seems more alive, more present, more connected not only to you, but to everything around him when you're together. Jung spoke of the vital importance of authentic connection, how it awakens dormant parts of ourselves. The man in love rediscovers dimensions of his own nature that may have lain dormant for years. Sensitivities that were suppressed, vulnerabilities that were hidden, dreams that were forgotten, all resurface under the light of this new feeling. Women's intuition, so valued in Jung's studies of the human psyche, often captures these signs long before the conscious mind fully processes them. You likely already sense this intuitive perception, that inexplicable feeling that something has shifted in how he interacts with you. Trust this inner wisdom. It's picking up subtle languages that go far beyond exchanged words, reading emotional truths that haven't yet been verbalized. A fascinating phenomenon unfolds in the social life of the man in love. People around him start noticing the shift long before he fully recognizes it himself. A colleague casually mentions, "You've been acting different lately." A close friend dares a more direct question. It's as if the energy of this inner transformation ripples outward, visible to everyone, except perhaps the two of you, who are at the epicenter of this quiet revolution. Jung deeply understood how humans are shaped by the stories they carry, both conscious and unconscious. The man in love unknowingly begins to rewrite his own narrative to include you. In his conversations with close friends, his future plans, the way he understands his own past, your presence infiltrates, becoming an essential part of the story he tells about himself, about who he is and who he's becoming. Synchronicity, those seemingly coincidental moments laden with meaning, tends to multiply when we're emotionally invested. Suddenly, he finds references to you everywhere. A song on the radio you recently discussed, a book in a shop window mentioning the place you were born, a news report on a topic you debated. The world seems to conspire to constantly remind him of your existence, creating invisible bridges between separate moments. One of the most transformative aspects of love is its ability to expand our perception beyond the usual confines of the ego. The truly loving man experiences a peculiar kind of generosity, not just material, but existential. His sphere of concern, which perhaps was once primarily focused on himself, now genuinely expands to include your well-being, your dreams, your struggles. It's an expansion of consciousness that Jung would recognize as a fundamental part of authentic human growth. How he processes difficulties and challenges also transforms. Problems that once seemed insurmountable are now re-evaluated in the light of this new feeling. There's a renewed resilience, a willingness to face obstacles with fresh energy. It's not that the difficulties disappear, it's that they're recontextualized in a universe where something profoundly valuable is to be protected and nurtured. The possibility of a shared future with you. If you've reached this point in this journey of exploration, you've likely recognized some of these signs in your own experience. Maybe you're reflecting on past interactions that now take on new meaning. Or perhaps you're observing with fresh eyes present behaviors that previously went unnoticed. This awakening of awareness to the silent languages of the heart is precisely the kind of expansion Jung valued. That moment when hidden patterns suddenly reveal themselves, bringing clarity and deeper understanding. If this content resonated with you, if it brought new perspectives on relationships and human connections, I invite you to continue this exploration. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next dives into the complexities of the human psyche. In the next video, we'll explore how vulnerability, that state we so often fear, can become the most powerful bridge to authentic and transformative connections. True freedom begins when we recognize the unseen patterns that guide our hearts. When a man is in love, he embarks on a journey of self-discovery as profound as it is challenging. And perhaps the most beautiful thing about this transformation is its inevitability, for even resisting, even denying, even trying to rationalize, the loving heart keeps sending its silent signals, patiently waiting to be recognized, understood, and finally reciprocated.